Hi, my name is Kevin and I collect old irons. People who come into the house sometimes say, "Where did you get all this stuff?" Well, today we'll talk about where I get my stuff. So where do I get my stuff? I get my stuff from basically three sources. From antique shops, online through eBay, or from specialty auctions. Now, most of my viewers are well familiar with these, but there's some thoughts to be said for the neophytes interested in buying irons or antiques in general. And besides that, I've learned some lessons and developed some strategies. So here goes. Antique shops are a really significant source for finding things. There are not as many as they used to be, but in most regions there are antique dealers who have been in business for decades, and they're useful people to know. And it's not just a matter of walking in and looking around, nothing here I'm interested in, walking out. If the shop has interesting stuff, the kinds of stuff that you're interested in, at decent prices, then spend the time to get to know the dealers. Talk to them, talk to them about what you collect, learn from them, and develop a relationship. And there's a lot of ways that one can do this. Let me start with a story. I went into an antique shop once, and there was a nice iron. This is a polishing iron, a koi polisher, it has some good markings on it. Used for sleeves, used for hats. I picked that up, and I know the dealer. I'm take it to the front, and my dealer, Ron, says, "Kevin, you can have that for $28. It's marked at $40. And I say, "Sure, thanks." And I write a check for $55. I tell this story to my adult education antique class, and my students are saying, "What? You didn't dicker?" Let's wait for a moment now. This person works very, very hard for what they find, and they have it at a good price. I'm very happy to pay that price and more. And if you think about it, when I go to a restaurant, I tip the waitress. Why don't I do that with antique dealers? Certainly, if I treat the antique dealer well, the antique dealer will remember me well. And antique dealers don't get treated well very often. So, time passes, and later on I get a phone call from Ron. And Ron says, "I found an interesting iron." He describes it to me. It's another polishing iron. And he says he just bought it. I can have it for $18. "Ron, I'll pay you $40 for this. Do I send you a check, or do I just pick it up next time I stop by?" Whatever. So again, I have treated this dealer well. This dealer has treated me well. And that's an important thing to know. A lot of the irons that I find via antique shops never get onto the floor. I know these people, they give me a call, they give me an alert, and I buy them before anybody else gets a chance. Good lesson to know. Let's talk another story. I have a dealer who comes up here to the county at auctions here, and I don't know him well. I visited his shop a couple times. We talk to him here. He sends me an email out of the blue. He says he was in a shop in Augusta, and the dealer that had what he thought might be an interesting iron he wanted to let me know about. And it is an interesting iron. This is a new style natural gas iron. We talked about this in that video. The top actually comes off to adjust the weight. I demonstrated this before. Oh, hey, it comes off the other way. That's right. The dealer has it for $35. That's a really good price. This thing's worth $100 at least, and maybe something well more than that. So I have the dealer's name, the price. I give the dealer a call. Do you still have that iron? Yes, she says she does. I says I'd like to buy that, and I'll send you a check. Now, I am probably going to put on an extra $5, $10 into that check just so she remembers me. There is some storage costs. I might not pick this thing up for another couple of months. What if I missed? The guy who gave me the phone call. I will write out a $20 check to him and I'll put it in the mail. That's a finder's fee. Now, he did not call me with the expectations of getting a finder's fee. He's probably surprised to get one. But it's the right thing to do. I have treated him well, and now he's going to be out there looking for irons for me. And this particular iron, I already have one, and I bought this with the idea of selling it to somebody else. I'll sell it for that $100 to somebody who's going to be very happy to have it. So I have made a little money, as has the dealer who originally had it, as has the person who's called me, and we're all very happy. Let's tell another story. I have a dealer I know. He doesn't have a shop, but he has a little bit of a garage that I visit occasionally, and we've had some good conversations. I have bought some furniture from him. He knows I collect irons. I visited him some while ago, and he says, "Oh, Kevin, I found something in an attic in southern Maine. I've set it aside for you, and it's this iron, this 1901 Bergman and Sons from Illinois." That liquid fuel iron, quite a rare piece. We talked about this one before, and you might remember it's the one that came with the original box and the wrench and the paperwork and all the rest of the stuff. He found this. He set it aside for me. $100. I was happy to pay it. So again, I bought an iron that otherwise would have gone to an auction or gone to, this guy has some stuff at an antique mall, would have gone there. Instead it came direct to me. Let's tell another story. So I got a phone call. He has an iron, and he doesn't know much about these things. He doesn't describe it very well. I'm not sure exactly what he's got, but he's sure it's an iron. And it's summertime. I tell Kate, you know, maybe I'll go driving down to Norwich Walk tomorrow to check this out. Norwich Walk's a good 3-4 hours from me, but I take the drive, and this is what he's got. Now, this is a golfer iron. We haven't talked about this particular category yet. It's fairly unusual in the American experience. They're generally European. I don't have very many, but this is a nice one, actually. It's got the original slug, and oftentimes they don't have the slugs. You'd heat this up, you put it in here, you'd use this for fancy collars or for ribbons for hats and so forth. It's great. We talk back and forth. I offer him $100. He's very happy. I'm very happy. So what happened here? I got a phone call from somebody who I didn't even know and who probably did not know me, but he had something unusual, and before he put it out, he asked around, and someone said, you know, you should call Kevin. He's interested in this kind of stuff, and he treats you well. Consequently, I got something that I certainly would not have gotten otherwise. With that, let's talk a little bit about the antique malls. I think I must surely have spent hundreds of hours in the antique malls. They're good exercise, opportunity to see lots of stuff, but I can't remember a really good iron that I got for some really good price at an antique mall. And the reason there is antique malls have lots of dealers, and that means there's lots of dealers going to and fro, and anything that's particularly interesting is likely to be seen by another dealer before I get a chance to see it. The other dealers see it, buy it, take it wherever it might be, perhaps eBay or whatever. But dealers are a good opportunity. They're a good opportunity for exercise for sure. But also, if you see a stall there and it's got interesting stuff, the kind of stuff that I like, person has an interesting eye, reasonable prices, then what I'll do is I'll go to the front, the person who's running this antique mall, and I'll say, could you give me the phone number of the guy in booth 57? And I'll give that person a call. And what the people who run these, who have these booths usually are, they don't have traditional shops. What they've got is a bunch of stuff in their garage, a bunch of stuff in their basement, and they do a bit of buying and selling and taking things to auctions or selling it on eBay. But if I can develop a rapport with this person first of all gets a little bit better educated about irons, lets me know when there's something at an auction that I might be interested in, or when they get something, and that becomes a resource. Let me tell you a story. You might remember this iron when we talked about the coal irons. This is an English iron, not in overly good condition. This came to me when I saw in a group shop in Bangor this interesting booth, contacted the person, and he had that iron, of course, with the small toy iron. This became a major find, and something I'm very happy to have. And I wound up paying him something more than he expected to get for it. And again, that happened by seeing something in a mall and then contacting the person. Always develop time and develop connections with people in this industry, because if you know them, then they know you, and they will let you know when things turn up. This business of developing connections is important, and that extends to fellow collectors as well. This is an iron that I bought off eBay. I paid $250 for it. It's a slug iron for fluting irons. It has a big slug in this tub, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly who made these. There's no patent dates to it. There are 3 different varieties, and I took them to a PITCA meeting, the Pressing Iron and Collectors and Trivet Collectors of America, and my good friend Jerry was really ogling these and very curious about them himself. He did not have much of this, and we talked about that. And sometime later, I saw one on eBay. Buy it now for $100. Wow! I've got it covered, and so I sent him an email. Jerry, one of those tub irons is on eBay. Here's the link. And I noticed very quickly thereafter it was sold. We do a lot of that amongst ourselves. If we're looking for something, we'd let friends and colleagues know, and we all work together in some ballywick or another. But that brings us to the topic of eBay in general. I don't buy a lot on eBay. Problem with eBay is that there are many people internationally out there, and that can bid the prices up. But there are things that one can get. This iron, this is a seam iron, we've seen this in the sleeve iron video, is again a lot of weight to work on the seams, and these irons go at the specialty auctions. I've seen a couple this past year go for in the $400 or $500 realm. I got this for $80. What I do, I don't tend to snipe. I just, if it's something that's interesting, I'll put a bid in, 6-8 hours before the thing comes to pass, and if I get it, I get it. If not, I don't. And sometimes there just isn't that many people who desire this, and I am surprised at what I might get. But the precaution on eBay is let the buyer beware. The people selling stuff on eBay oftentimes don't know what they're selling. They don't describe it very well, and sometimes they do know what they're selling, and they just don't give you all the information you need. Just as an example, there is, as I speak, one of these on eBay right now. buy it now for $99. Not a bad price at all. It's got an original wooden base to it, but it has photos from this direction, and from the top. Well, what would really be important to me is knowing that it has the doors with the patents on them, these nice brass doors and the slugs in there. No information at all that way. I'll bet you money that if it doesn't have a picture from that direction, then it doesn't have those doors and doesn't have those slugs. I can always inquire and get some information on that. For me, I've already got it, and I'm not going to bother. But if it doesn't have a key view on there, there's probably something wrong with it. And I've learned that lesson several times. But with eBay too, it helps to make connections. If I see somebody that's got a lot of interesting pieces, and if I see a piece, I'll often see if that dealer has got more irons. Oftentimes they're selling something for a friend, or maybe their dad used to collect this stuff and has passed on. And I introduce myself, I offer help in working on descriptions and so forth, and gives me a heads up on what's coming down. Sometimes I can make an offer ahead of time. Sometimes something will show up. Like, for example, somebody who I had bought a few items from, have been emailing to for a while casually, said, hey, you know, I've got this stove I'm curious about. This is a laundry stove. It's from Sweden, and it's got beautiful markings and a neat little door in the front and everything else. I want it. What's a good price? Back and forth a bit. I bought it for $200, which I was happy with, he was happy with, and I'm glad that I made that connection. I'm happy to get it independent of the usual process. And then there's the specialty auctions. And the specialty auctions are becoming my main source for irons, because I'm looking for something unusual, fancy, that fills a particular niche in my collection. The specialty auctions are an auction of nothing but irons, probably somebody's collection they have passed on or retired and ready to get rid of their collections, and an auctioneer, maybe an auctioneer who specializes in this kind of stuff, will put this on. It will probably be live and online. Let's talk about, first of all, how you find out about these. There is a Sad Iron Collectors Club in the United States, the Pressing Iron and Trivet Collectors of America, and they have a dues, they have national meetings, they have a web page, they have a Facebook page. If you're interested in irons, become a member, take a look at the web page regularly, and as there's an auction available, they'll let you know. Some of the auctions are minor, just basically not online. You more or less have to be there. Others are very widely advertised and have some very significant stuff. Pitka is also associated with it's been called a newsletter, but it's turning into a very beautiful magazine with lots of information and so forth. And Jay, you're doing a beautiful job with this. So let's talk now about these specialty auctions. These are posted, pictures online, oftentimes a month or so ahead of time. And what I do is I do my research. And what I'm suggesting to you is spend your time, look at the pictures, decide those that you like. Here is the file that I put together for the last auction that I did. And you notice I've got all kinds of notes. I've got the prices posted as the approximate value of each iron, what I want to bid for. I also prioritize these things with a 4-star system. I have 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, 1. 4 stars is something I really badly want, and I hope it goes within the amount of money that I can afford. 3, something I'd like to have and feeling on a 4-star item or 2, maybe I'll put my resources that way. 2 stars, it's interesting and it depending. And 1 that I'm just watching just in case. And for those of you who are the neophytes out there, they're just getting started, let's talk about the collecting that you might do there. There are irons you will see that are going to go for $1,000, and that probably is not in your price range. But there also are a diversity of unusual irons that are going to go quite cheap. And that's because the collectors that are participating in this auction have most of the basics. They're probably looking at something fancier, and oftentimes the irons that are worth 50, 100, 150 or more sometimes go for only $20 or $40 or less. And let's just tell a couple stories here, because I want, for the neophyte collectors, I want them to know about this. We'll start. This was at the Pitka auction, a live auction associated with a meeting a couple of years ago. Now, I have my list and I'm bidding on and getting some very nice things for my collection. Late in the auction, this thing comes up. Now, this is not even on my list. I don't have it, but I have enough of things like it, and I'm putting my resources into something else. But this is quite nice. This is a coal iron. It's a combination iron with a fluter top. It's got the original trivet. It's got patent dates, and it's got some unusual markings on the side as well. I didn't even take a look at it, but there it is, late in the auction. I still have a little bit of money, and the bidding starts. $10. Do I have $10? $10? $10? Do we have $10? Yeah. Sold for $10. You know, the trivet's worth well more than $10. This is a great deal. And these kind of deals happen. At the auction 2 months ago, for which I showed my paperwork, this thing came up for $10. This is a gas jet. It's not in all that great a condition or anything like that, but I didn't have it. It's worth $50, $70. $10, of course you're also paying, the premium and postage, but that's not bad. This came up. This is a 1700s slug iron. Small. I got it for 50 bucks. I don't generally collect these, but for a round back slug iron, it does have the slug for 50 bucks. Great. And similarly, here's another European. Drop in the back. It does have the slug with it. By golly. 2 slugs. With the trivet. 60 bucks. These things turn up, and there's not a lot of collectors necessarily looking for the European irons. On a good day, I can pull something down quite nice. Let's take a look at another piece here. This is an Erie fluter. We saw a Erie fluter earlier with a handle that came off. This is a Griswold. Griswold collectors are legion and fanatics about their subject, and I happen to know a couple of Griswold collectors. Grizz things usually go for $60, $100 or more dollars. I got this one for 20 bucks. Now, I already have one in better condition, to be frank, but for 20 bucks, I'll buy this, and I'll give this to a Griswold collector as they come by, and I get a lot of goodwill. And I've done this with one Griswold collector, Mike, already, and he now calls me when he sees interesting things. And we've had quite a rapport. I hope that he'll be helping me later on another video next year. So these connections matter. My key lessons to you all is have fun, don't go crazy, and make and keep and make more good friends. Treat people well, have fun with it all. And with that, thank you again for spending some time with me, and we'll talk more about irons in the next video.